Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
You and I. Hi. Yeah. That was great. Do it again. Head kick across. Another episode of Trash Talk. With me, as always, is TJ O'Connor. Tonight we have Sarah Bishop, who's getting ready for her kickboxing match going down December 21st at Canterbury Park, which is one of the most stacked cards to end the year in Minnesota. One of the most stacked cards that went down all year in general. And we're just excited to have you on, Sarah. How are you feeling tonight?
Feel good. We're still about a week out, so.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I feel a little bit stupid. I forgot to mention the sponsors. Trash Talk is brought to you again by Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Strings Tattoo out in New Brighton, Minnesota, Origin Wellness CBD, The Fighters, and TJ's mom. We all love her. No,
yeah, always.
Now, getting ready for this fight, you're facing another gal named Sarah. So you're familiar with the name. How familiar are you with the opponent?
I'm very unfamiliar. I think in my previous fights, I would kind of YouTube and try to find fights of the person and just wreck my nerves for, 2 months, right? But I really didn't do any research or anything like that this time. And so I'm trying to not, it doesn't matter on the video because it never ends up being like that anyway.
Yep.
When you fight them, so it's just kind of pointless to wreck your nerves for no reason.
Yeah, well,
definitely.
We spoke on this in previous interviews with other people too, where if they get to know their opponent, they're a little bit too nice, or they get to know their opponent and they overthink. I was always a big overthinker, and sometimes it just plays better just to work on yourself and do what you do. Is that kind of how you see it?
Definitely. I think when you try to pick apart somebody who's fighting somebody else who is not yourself, the stuff that worked on the person they were fighting may or may not work on you. And so it's sort of pointless to kind of watch video, at least on the amateur level anyway. Maybe on a pro fight, if they have some crazy hook or something like that, they need to watch out for. But I mean, at the level that we're at, it's pretty kind of a waste of time to try to dissect a fight.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I say probably too much on this show, but at the amateur level, it's so much better to focus on yourself. I mean, last-minute opponent changes, dates change, everything changes when it comes to an amateur fight. You never know what's going to happen until the bell rings, and you got someone coming at you throwing punches. So just focusing on yourself and betting yourself, and that just comes with experience. Like you said, you're learning how now, not to overthink things, just to come about it your way. How many fights have you had? What is your full background and experience in kickboxing at this point?
So in kickboxing, I'm 6-4, and then I've got 2 MMA fights. I started out in MMA, and I fight heavier, so I fight at 170. This fight's at 164, which is sort of an odd weight, but so it's a lot harder in MMA to get fights at 170. Even 165, it's pretty difficult to get fights. And I ended up just getting more opportunities in Muay Thai. And I actually like the stand-up better than Jiu-Jitsu if I had a choice. So it was a good kind of transfer over.
Hell yeah. So, if let's say there became more opponents at your weight class in MMA, would you still stick with Muay Thai anyway? I mean, if it's your passion, if it's what you like,
I would. I wouldn't be opposed to taking a short notice fight if somebody got a cancellation, just so somebody didn't have to, train and not have a fight. I would go, but I haven't trained jiu-jitsu in probably 4 years. So I had trained maybe for 5 years, and then for the last 4 years I haven't trained at all. So I probably wouldn't, actively jump in there. I wouldn't be opposed to it, but if I had the opportunity to fight kickboxing or Muay Thai, I would definitely take that over an MMA fight.
Oh yeah, like I mean, you spent this time honing your skills. That's amazing.
Yeah.
4 years dedicated to exactly what you want to do, and you've been doing it. That's crazy, you know. And then, I mean, one of the things that I noticed when I was watching a few of your fights, like Ryan Murray is a pretty active cornerman.
Yeah.
One of the things that I liked when I was watching your fights is he would yell something out, and it's almost instantaneous. You're doing it. You know, how's working with him and working with your coach has been going and all that stuff. And how, I mean, how does it work for you? I mean, I know how it works for other fighters and stuff, but hearing his voice and then doing exactly that, is it just are you just like a perfect student, or does he stand out a lot more than certain people?
The Manchurian Candidate.
Yeah. No, I think it just comes from working together. I do a lot of lessons with Ryan, and we've been working together for 4 or 5 years now. And I can kind of pick his voice out. He's a really good corner person in the way that he keeps things really simple. So very simple concepts and simple things. He's really good at not just throwing so much at you in a 60-second period, and it makes it a lot easier to process during the fight. And he's pretty good at repeating stuff. If he doesn't see it right away, or he'll repeat it and not be afraid in case I didn't hear it or I was in the middle of whatever. He's pretty good at repeating stuff. So, and I've been working with him long enough that I recognize his voice through the background and through everything. So.
Yeah, that's just something that comes with being so comfortable. And I like what you mentioned, and you said it twice, which is great that you emphasized it, is finding the voice that sticks out, because fighters know the chaos that you hear. I mean, you have hundreds of people that have probably been drinking for hours. They're yelling the craziest things. And to find that voice that makes you feel comfortable and relaxed, and like Damian said, it's evident. I mean, Ryan tells you, 1, 2, it comes right behind it, and then that goes to show. And I just realized that we're so comfortable. Just for the fans that might not be as aware, where do you train, and who are some of your coaches?
I train at the academy in Brooklyn Center, and Ryan Murray is the main Thai boxing coach. He spends a lot of time, and then there's a couple other. Caitlin Young is leading a lot of the morning workouts. And then those are the two main. And then John Aarons, he's another coach that comes in and holds pads and stuff sometimes for people. So it's a pretty limited. Ryan pretty much takes the initiative for all of the training and stuff. Yeah.
Now that's pretty much the narrative that I've heard from a lot of the guys that train at the academy, and specifically the ones that train in the Muay Thai aspect. And you guys have some really high level Muay Thai. What's it like working with the training partners and all the elite high level fighters, like Muay Thai, MMA, grappling, everything? Like if you want to find somebody good at all aspects, like you can find somebody who's gonna whoop your ass on the ground at the academy. You're gonna find somebody who can beat your ass in Muay Thai. You can find somebody who's probably gonna just work you all around in MMA. How's working with all those guys and all those gals as well been going for you?
Really good. It's funny because you can have a really good sparring day and then go with Tom Jenkins or go with Caitlin and just knock you back a few steps, and but it's a lot of fun, and it's great because it's a really good team atmosphere, and everybody is always trying to help everybody get ready for fights, and there's no real exclusion as far as like professional versus amateur. The pros are really trying to help the amateurs get up to the training level that they need to get ready for a fight, and it's a super team atmosphere. It's really fun.
Yeah. No, so, that's been pretty much what we've been able to feel from everybody that trains there and all the guys that shout you guys out all the time. It's just, I mean, I love the family atmosphere. There's a bunch of teams. I mean, I think that's just what gyms become for a lot of people. Just you're training with family after a while.
Yeah, and I mean, you're there so often. Like this last 4 weeks, it's been mornings and then nights, and you're basically with the people. I mean, you just see them more than you're home half the time.
True.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
but,
you go to work, you spend a long day at work, and those are the people you go spend time with at night. And
right.
by the time you get home, everybody else is in bed, dinner's already eaten, and it's like, well, gotta
I'll
go
just
back
go
and do
to
it again.
bed. Yeah.
Go do it
Right.
again.
Right.
Oh,
Go to bed
man.
last and get up before everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. That's just great to know. And then coming back to the fight here on December 21, you mentioned, you've been pretty active. This is going to be your 11th Muay Thai fight. What do you expect as far as this fight? I know you haven't looked into her much, but what are you expecting as far as, if you can take a guess, what kind of fight do you expect this to be?
I expect it'll be a little bit more high volume. I think that's really the only thing I'm sort of expecting. I'm trying not to put any expectations on it too much. I anticipate that it'll be high volume. I try to anticipate that it's going to be really hard. I mean, and just kind of focus on trying to fight my fight and try not to anticipate too much stuff, but I think it'll be high volume.
Okay. No, okay. That just made me think of something. With this being an amateur fight, are knees and elbows allowed? What are the rules going into this fight?
So this is a Class A fight. I think this is we can do elbows, but we've got elbow pads.
Okay.
Which are just horrible. They're just so uncomfortable. But we're doing no shin guards and no headgear. And then, Class B, I think, is shin guards and elbow pads. And then Class C is no elbows and shin guards and maybe headgear too.
Okay. Are knees allowed to the head?
I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't fought any promotion where they are. I know that if you're in clinch and somebody tries to back away, duck down and back away and you clip them, I don't think that's necessarily illegal if they sort of drop into it, but I don't think you can do. I think it's got to be on the pro level to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was more of a question for me and for the fans because I still don't actually know because I don't know how many tournaments that you've been in. I know it's been a few and how many fights and all that, but the rules aren't always the same leading up to every single fight because I have seen you in the elbow pads, and when they're on, they have to tape them on. And I see like sometimes in some fights and stuff, I'm not sure if it was the case with you, but where people have their elbow pads on, and it like keeps their arms bent, like they can't straighten them out. It's hard to throw a straighter punch and stuff like that. It's almost like fighting under restriction,
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable. And I don't have a problem straightening my arm, but it will fatigue it's like pressing on your biceps. So when you put your arm up, it's pushing on your bicep.
Yeah, because you're stretched.
Yep. So I've been wearing them the last few weeks just to kind of get used to them, and
that's smart. I like that. I love when I hear fighters that are fighting at elevation and stuff. I mean, I guess Cain Velasquez is probably the best example to use or whatever when he was fighting Verdum, and Verdum went down to Mexico City, got used to elevation, and Cain went down probably just a week before. You got to get used to elements of what the fight's going to be like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think you're one of those fighters that's able to adapt to change too, because of all the Muay Thai experience and all the Muay Thai fights where the rules are different at different tournaments or different fights and different promotions, different states and stuff. Because you've had out of state experience, tournament experience, and just specific one fight experience. That's something that I think is amazing, especially to have as an amateur.
Yeah, it's been nice to have a lot of different experiences. For the most part, I think that, in my opinion, I think that the gear is a little bit overused. If you look at, kickboxing and Muay Thai, in MMA, my first MMA fight, 0-0, we had no shin guards, no elbow pads, no headgear, and we were just, flailing around, with no gear on, and it took, I mean, even like my 8th and 9th fight, I think, you know, it said still had, I think one of the fights I had headgear, one of them I had shin guards, you know, and so it gets a little bit overused for protection purposes. But it's, you know, it's kind of weird. You don't have to do that in MMA, but in kickboxing, then they have the different sanctioning. And so it is odd, some of the rules that they.
Yeah. Are you okay? Sorry, TJ. I know you have a question on the tip of your tongue right now, and I'm really sorry. But is there headgear in this fight at all? I don't remember.
Not in my fight. Not in my fight. We're gonna do no shin guards and no headgear, and then there'll just be elbow pads.
Okay.
So, and we pretty much don't lose the elbow pads till you go pro, pretty much. Okay. They want to try to avoid cuts as much as possible, I think. Yeah, especially as an amateur, you guys aren't getting paid, and then you might have to take time off of work because of a cut and stuff like that. I totally understand that, but I just the restriction of it. I just look at that as like, man, I like the people that are able to fight and perform with that restriction and stuff, and how you said it just only on the bicep for you is what you feel. I think it's something that would mess with me mentally, and the fact that it doesn't affect you that much, that's just great, and I think that's going to show in the fight, and I mean, speaks
on the experience that you have in this game.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, sorry.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely. Just, the experience, the adversity, this one is a little bit different from the traditional sense, whereas, we mentioned how this is a huge fight card. It's the double fight card. Being on the kickboxing portion of this, you're actually going to be fighting in midday, late afternoon, early evening. Does that bring a difference to it as far as, for the time of day, or is that normally what time you train anyway, so it's just business as usual?
It's just business as usual. I mean, it doesn't matter what time it is. I actually prefer that it's a little bit earlier. I've been on a couple of cards where we don't fight until like 10 o'clock at night. And you're there, at 6 or 5 o'clock, and you're like sort of tired before the fight even starts, because you're used to getting up at 5 o'clock to go run or do whatever. I don't mind the time of day. I think early on, the early ones kind of maybe messed with me a little bit, but I don't care anymore.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love that. I love that attitude, man. Oh my God. Now, but before we start to wrap this up, I know TJ might have one more question, so I'm gonna delay. Okay, it looked like you were about to say something. No. Is there any sponsors, teammates, or family, or anybody outside the gym that you'd like to shout out before we wrap this up?
No, I would just like to say thanks to my teammates. I know that's not really outside the gym, but I've had some really good pushes from Caitlin and from my other teammates, and just someone's always willing to hold pads or make sure that I get the work in that I need to get done. And obviously, I appreciate my partner Heather. She takes care of everything while I'm gone and training, and just friends and family and everyone who supports me doing this still. So.
Hell yeah. No, that's amazing. And I'm really glad that you took the time to come on Trash Talk and speak with me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. And we're definitely excited to see your fight. And anytime that you have another fight coming on, you're always welcome back on the show. Please reach out to us. Don't hesitate. Please. Yeah. And to the people that are watching, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to Trash Talk with Damian and TJ. Hit that like button. Don't be a hoe.
Yeah.
Are you listening? Damn.